They start out with the little tiny babies. It goes from 5 to 18. So the little 5-year-olds come out and they are yummy. And you could eat their lips off. And they've got little bitty skirts on about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front, making every move that their little children are making. Because those little children are babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. They can't remember their act. So they go all the way up until they get to my baby's age, and my baby comes out, reef sharks. And for 2.5 minutes, my baby throws little children up in the air. Broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. And the whole time, it's the most freakishly tiny little people you've ever seen that she's throwing up in the air. Their little mamas are freakish, tiny little people too. I'm from farming country in Middle Tennessee. We grew dark fired tobacco, so I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. So these freakishly tiny little children are up on top, and the whole time she's throwing them in the air, they're doing this. And nobody knows why. But this goes on for 2.5 minutes, and then the finale. All the little children hunker down on the stage, and the finale was my baby. They had my baby hop up out of that crowd with a child's foot in her hand. So y'all get what I'm saying. She had a human being up over her head with one arm. And that little girl's doing some kind of something up on top. My baby was a rock star. Thank you. I mean, really, I don't know when's the last, I had never held one of my friends up over my head with one foot in my hand. It's a big deal. And the feminine boys went nuts. And they wanted her to stay so bad. They were like, we want you to stay. And she was like, I'm okay. I've got it out of my system. I'm okay. She said, but I'm keeping this whore outfit. She still has it. She says she's going to get married. They raised so much money for him, so I said I would do it. And they put me with this precious partner, Daniel, a big old boy. And we were going to do the cha-cha to Earth, Wind, and Fire September. And we practiced for 6 weeks, and we begged for money during the day and danced at night. And it was so stressful. So one night, we were practicing, he kind of slung me hard, and I thought, oh my gosh, something doesn't feel right. So I went to bed, and I got up the next morning, and this big thing was sticking out about right here, and I thought, oh my gosh, is that backed up poop? And because I have trouble with that. And I called my girlfriend, Emily, and I said, I think I've got backed up poop. And she said, I don't think poop goes up that far. And so she looked on her WebMD on her iPad and found a picture of a man that looked like an alien coming out of him. And she said, is that it? And I said, yes. And she said, you got a hernia. So like 4 days before the event, I had a hernia that had to be operated on. So I went in for that operation, and my 2 teenage girls that are usually so hateful, okay, they stepped in and learned to dance in 4 days. So the night of the event, I came out in a wheelchair to Proud Mary Keep On Turning. And they did that video, that dance. If you remember when Tina Turner would do that and it looked like a car wash. Do y'all remember that? And what I learned in that whole thing, what I'm trying to teach, what I learned in that whole thing was that if something bad, really bad happened to me, God forbid, like a bad sickness, my husband and my children would let me die. After I had that hernia surgery, I laid up in the bed for 3 days and nobody checked on me. That all the little children could look alike. And they said, y'all are going to travel to faraway lands and compete against other little whore children. So we went to like Cincinnati or Atlanta. And we had to get hotel rooms and the gas and all of that. And then you drive up to a big coliseum, a huge coliseum. And there's tens of thousands of little whore children walking around. And my husband said, there could be pedophiles here. This is the ugliest thing I've ever, something's not right. Okay, so then they said, you're going to pay $150 for your baby to be in this competition. You're going to have to pay $30 to put a band on to get in and watch your baby in this competition. Somebody was selling corn dogs for $15. Okay. They start out with the babies, so it goes from 5 to 18 ages. So the babies come out in a tiny little skirt about the size of a napkin. And they come out to Beyonce's All the Single Ladies. And their little mamas are in their 20s. And they're not bitter yet. And they're in the front doing every move to keep their baby on track because they're babies and they need to be at home breastfeeding. So they move up throughout the day into my baby's age, and they're the reef sharks. They call out that name, honey, for 2.5 minutes. My baby throws little children up in the air, flinging little children, broken out in a sweat, working like a Trojan. Did you see my Spanx? Okay, all right. One of my girls said I look like Miley Cyrus in the Wrecking Ball in my Spanx. But anyway, so she throws his little children up. The little children she's throwing up in the air are the flyers. They call them the flyers. And they're freakishly tiny little children. I don't know where these people come from. Their mamas are freakishly tiny. I mean, I come from big people. I've got thick ankles. I can work in the fields. And the whole time she's throwing them in there, these little girls are going. Knows why, really. So at the end of the routine, after the 2.5 minutes, the finale, everybody hunkers down on the stage, puts their forehead on the stage, and my baby is the finale. She pops up and has a little child's, all the rest of her childhood, but she said, I'm keeping that whore outfit. She said, I'm gonna get married in it. All my children are yummy, and I'm in love with them, and I love my girls, and I know that when I'm in the nursing home, they'll be the ones to come and pluck my chin hairs. Because he is now since married and gone off with his wife and her people. And that's what boys do. They cling to their wife. That's biblical. He said to me, Mom, she is now my immediate family. You are my extended. That's what he said to me right before they got married. And he said, Mom, that's biblical. I'm supposed to cling to my wife. And I thought, why did I show him the Bible? Well, he has always been spiritually mature, We call him our little Billy Graham. My husband and I, we didn't do it. God did it. I'm full of sin. Okay. I've been washed in the blood, but I've been a horrible, horrible person. Not too bad, but okay. So this baby has been just like an old man all of his life. Let me give you an example. He had a little girlfriend in high school, and he would go over to her house and they'd watch movies. And he came home one night and he used to tell me everything. And I said, "What y'all been doing?" Normal. But I said, "You know, before you know it, you've got your hand on somebody's leg, your arm around, and you know, things can get out of control." And I just say, "Slow it down." He looked at me like I was crazy. And he said, "Mom, I've prayed about this. Nothing like that's going to happen." And I know he meant that. And all I could think of to myself was some of the nastiest things I ever did. Was at the Adams United Methodist Youth Fellowship on a hayride. I don't know what it was about hay that set me on fire. I wish it did now, because I could get a new purse out of that. Okay, y'all, have you ever heard of lock-in? I know everybody in here that has been from Chattanooga has probably been raised in church. Okay, I don't know who that little darling, sweet fool was that came up with the lock-in. Probably a little woman in a committee meeting. And she probably said, "Oh gosh, y'all, let's come up with something for all the hormonal teenagers. Let's gather them up and put them in the church building and lock the door and turn the lights out and leave them there all night. Maybe somebody will end up pregnant."